Chaos. Chaos is an ancient entity that created the world and all who reside in it from nothingness. It is described by Merlin as an impure entity of darkness that even the demons fear and a pure entity of light that even the goddesses worship. After being sealed away, it came to exist within a transient form known in legends as the Mother of Chaos Kanten no Haha, with all monsters being born from her. Appearance. Chaos itself is a will, therefore it does not have a physical form. However, it has assumed physical form through its creations, which thereby serve as proxies. Personality. Nothing is known about its personality, except that it was disappointed with its creations prior to making humans due to them not living up to its expectations. Yet it saw humans, despite being much more flawed than the other races, as its greatest creation due to being the ones closest to mirroring chaos itself. Chaos seemed to have shown its conflicting traits upon dividing itself into every one of its creations. Most noticeably, it displayed loyalty and trust as Hawk and Wild's mother, destructiveness and sadism as Kath, rigidity and adherence as the Demon King and Supreme Deity, and wisdom and intelligence as the Lady of the Lake. History. Said to be born amidst ancient stars that were far away, Chaos first created the world before creating the Supreme Deity, Demon King and Sacred Tree, who would go on to create their own realms and the races of the goddesses, demons and fairies. Afterwards, it created the giants but was disappointed because they were extremely savage and slaves to their power who knew nothing other than inflicting pain. It then decided to create humans by putting all feelings, positive and negative, into them. Although incomplete and fragile, they were the race that came closest to its nature, thus dubbing them its greatest creation. The Supreme Deity and the Demon King were filled with both jealousy and apprehension of chaos, fearing that the love and respect that their own races had for them would be stolen by their creator. Thus, the two gods joined together and sealed chaos away, allowing them to be the two rulers of the world and believed to be the most powerful entities in existence. Yet, due to chaos not being a physical entity, it was not truly sealed, but came to exist within a moss shell that would be known as the Mother of Chaos and later Hawk Mama. At some point, it created both the Lady of the Lake, an all-knowing entity trapped within Lake Salisbury, and Kath Palag, a cluster of chaos destructive will who desired to take its creator's power for itself. Eventually, Chaos chose Arthur Pendragon to be the rightful King of Chaos and to inherit its power for whatever he wished to use it for, believing him to be a proper host. Plot. King of Chaos Arc. After the Demon King was destroyed by the 7 deadly sins, thus disrupting the balance between light and darkness, Merlin finally got her chance to revive Chaos. When Merlin decides to carry out Arthur's awakening, she teleports to Lake Salisbury along with the Sins and Elizabeth. Upon putting herself over the lake, Merlin removes Arthur's body still pierced by Excalibur from the boar hat. So, thanks to all the magical power that the lake had accumulated in the battle against the Demon King, Merlin and the Lady of the Lake managed to awaken Arthur as the King of Chaos. When Meliodas reproaches Merlin for using the 7 deadly sins to revive a being that may never exist, the Lady of the Lake states that chaos exists and that they have already been face to face with it for a long time. When no one seems to understand, the Lady of the Lake reveals that they have been traveling on it and that all that time has been waiting for her resurrection, leaving everyone shocked to see that she refers to Hawk Mama. The Lady of the Lake says that chaos is a will of power, so it does not manifest itself in physical form and that Hawk Mama was just a provisional form in which the two gods sealed it. There, Hawk Mama is revealed to be a moss shell whose content, chaos, is now inside Arthur. Merlin states that chaos has chosen to coexist within Arthur, which proves that he is the true King of Chaos. When Kath shows itself happy to see Arthur, the Lady of the Lake is alarmed by its presence and tells Merlin not to let it approach Arthur. Kath then devours one of Arthur's arms, and when it transforms into a monstrous state, the Lady of the Lake tells them that they must retrieve the arm or they will know how powerful even a fragment of chaos is. After transforming, the Lady of the Lake reveals Kath's true identity as a monstrous and tyrannical monster that once challenged chaos for its power but easily lost and was later sealed by the goddess clan for its misdeeds. Arthur asks Kath himself about this, to which Kath fully admits it to be true and that he only clung to Arthur until he became the new host of chaos so the beast could devour him. He attempts to devour Arthur, along with the Sins, Hawk, and Elizabeth in a dimension using the fragment of chaos power it devoured, but Arthur uses Excalibur to cut Kath Palag in half, destroying its body and seemingly killing it. After sending the sins back to Lyonesse, Merlin brings Arthur into one of the castle towers he created unconsciously and is overcome with joy upon seeing only a mere glimpse of the power of chaos, just as Arthur awakens as is glad to see her in a better mood. She asks him why he is not angry with her as she only revived him for her own desire, but Arthur says that despite chaos origins and how powerful it is, as long as the one controlling it has good intentions, it could be used to make the world a better place, his positive emotions reflecting that onto Excalibur. Suddenly, the tower begins to shake and a voice calls out to Arthur, saying it is not done playing with him yet. Arthur and Merlin both recognize the voice belonging to Cath Palleg, who survived Arthur's attack and has further transformed into a more powerful and stabilized form. Arthur is shocked, believing he had destroyed him, but Merlin claims she will not let Cath get to him as she goes outside and attacks him, claiming she will be its opponent. Merlin struggles against the monster, who still possesses a fragment of chaos from Arthur's arm as he says that she is not the one he wants to play with, only for Arthur to appear and saying he shall do it for her. He cuts the monsters into pieces and says it is his fault he allowed Cath Palleg to get this far and claims it is his responsibility to defeat it, but the monster keeps regenerating and says cutting it will not kill him, but Arthur claims he will do whatever it takes as it is his job to protect Camelot and its people. Cath Palleg mocks him claiming he does not realize he has already lost them and explains, to Arthur's horror, that Camelot was destroyed in the fight between the 7 deadly sins and the Demon King in Meliodas' body, and despite Arthur's initial disbelief, Cath says he can prove it by using chaos to see, and Arthur's fears are realized upon seeing that his kingdom was wiped off the face of Britannia. Merlin tries to tell him that he can rebuild Camelot and that most of the people were evacuated to Lyonesse, but Arthur is grief-stricken upon realizing the people in the underground vault were killed. Cath then takes the opportunity to attack Arthur, only for a barrier to form around him, and is attacked by Merlin, who Cath then attempts to kill with a breath attack, only for Meliodas to appear and use full counter to save him, much to her shock. Elizabeth and the rest of the sins appear and claim that Merlin needs to take responsibility for unleashing chaos, and as her friends, need to let them carry some of the responsibility by protecting her and Arthur from the monster, to her gratefulness. Cath reforms again, annoyed at Meliodas and the others' interference, and tells Arthur to simply give up as nothing will last forever, but Meliodas, Ban and the others refuse to give Arthur up to the monster cat, who begins its charge and uses the fragment it stole from Arthur to show them visions of a possible future of their own desires, but Meliodas manages to break free and Cath mocks them, saying they cannot kill him as he now transcends life and death, but Arthur realizes there is another way to defeat him. Arthur states that since he cannot destroy Cath, he will simply devour him instead and absorb him, much to Cath's amusement as he attempts to devour Arthur and the others by using the fragment of chaos to manipulate the environment, but Arthur creates an even large vortex which manages to free everyone from their visions as he asks Cath why he wants chaos so badly, only for Cath to reveal itself as an incarnation of the destructive will of chaos that only wants to destroy anything and everything, and tells Arthur that it will not matter even if he rebuilds Camelot, as it will only fall again, and his subjects that he failed to save are probably cursing him in death for being a failure. However, Arthur counters this by saying despite what others may or may not think of him, as long as he can make them safe and happy, it is fine if they laugh at him or talk about him behind his back, as he claims he will make an everlasting kingdom where nobody has to suffer or feel fear. Cath finds his notion ridiculous as it is a contradiction and realizes that he fell into Arthur's trap by saying those words. The dimension Cath created then devours the monster into himself, causing Arthur to declare himself as the King of Chaos. After absorbing Cath into himself, the dimension it created disappears and they find themselves back in the normal world during the night, and Merlin explains that by absorbing Cath, Arthur has regained the full power of chaos, and the young king is shocked to see Excalibur transformed again, now in its final form. Meliodas admires Arthur for both his new power and promise to make an everlasting kingdom. Sistana Arc. The power of chaos is shown again 16 years later, when Arthur uses it to punish Ironside for his failure, at the latter's request. As the knight is tormented by the warped reality created by his king, Arthur explains his intention of freeing Britannia for mankind, as they have suffered at the hands of the other races for thousands of years, and as well as the protection of the everlasting kingdom of Camelot, where nobody will have to know sadness, pain, or threats and calamities of any kind. Chaos in Lyonesse Arc. Chaos manifests itself in the middle of the fight between Arthur and Lancelot, making the knight take quite a hit. Arthur explains that chaos unconsciously acts to protect him, its vessel, regardless of Arthur's will, which prevents Lancelot from anticipating with his ability to read hearts. Abilities/equipment. Chaos is shown to be an immeasurably powerful entity, as it created the world and immensely powerful godlike beings, such as the Supreme Deity, the Demon King and the Sacred Tree out of nothing on a whim, that in turn were each capable of creating their own powerful races to serve them and own unique dimension to reside in. It required the combined power of both the Supreme Deity and the Demon King just to seal it away, and even then they could not seal their creator away from the physical realm and could only imprison it in a prison of moss, making it the most powerful entity in the world of Nanatsu no Taizai. When Arthur Pendragon became the King of Chaos, Chaos itself chose to coexist within Arthur and allow him to use its power for whatever he chooses, allowing him to, unconsciously, bend reality to his will, as well as create new worlds and life from nothingness. With just a fragment of chaos he stole from Arthur, Cath was able to bend time and space by creating other dimensions and transcended life and death, making it impossible to destroy him. He was only defeated by Arthur, who held the majority of chaos power, and after he tricked Cath into admitting his own defeat.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.